A warm welcome to the Home of Science. We have a question here from 2022 GCE, section C, question 1. The question is under the topic acids, bases, and salts. Okay, and the question reads, the following scheme shows some reactions of dilute acid A. So the following scheme shows some reaction of dilute acid A. Okay, then we have a diagram here. So we have dilute acid A. So this to simplify the diagram, you can say dilute acid A was reacted with copper 2 oxide this side, and it produced it was reacted with copper 2 oxide, yes, and it produced copper 2 sulfate plus water. Okay, then this side on the middle here, the same dilute acid A, it was reacted with magnesium. So this is magnesium metal. Then it produced the substance C plus hydrogen gas. Okay, so to explain on this one, whenever an acid reacts with a metal, it will produce a salt. So this substance C is a salt and hydrogen gas. Whenever a metal reacts with an acid, it will produce a salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, this side, we have the same dilute acid A, which reacted with substance B to produce sodium sulfate plus water. Okay, so the first question, name and give the formula of dilute acid A. Okay, then we are asked to identify substance B and C. So this is substance B and substance C. Also, the first question, they have asked us to identify dilute acid A. Okay, so how can we identify dilute acid A? We can use this arrow this side or the arrow this side in order for us to identify dilute acid A. Okay, when we use this side, we have been told that this dilute acid A, it reacted with copper 2 oxide. Okay, so this copper 2 oxide is a base. So whenever an acid reacts with a base, it will form a salt and water. Okay, so whenever an acid reacts with a base, it will form salt and water. Now, a salt which is formed this side, we have been told it is copper 2 oxide. So from copper 2 sulfate. From copper 2 oxide plus an acid, we have copper 2 sulfate. So what does this entail? This is telling us that the acid, that is acid A, it is an acid which has which is formed from a radical sulfate, from a sulfate radical. No wonder we have this copper 2 oxide. When it reacts with that acid, it is giving us copper 2 sulfate. So we know that an acid, dilute acid A, it is an acid of formed from a radical of sulfate, an acid of a radical sulfate. No wonder when copper 2 oxide reacts with that acid, we have copper 2 sulfate plus water. So which acid is formed from a sulfate? So an acid which has the sulfate radical, it is sulfuric acid. So from the word sulfate to form an acid, then it will be sulfuric acid. Just like from the word nitrate, we know it is a radical. So from the word nitrate, in order for us to form an acid, then we can have nitric acid. So just because of this copper 2 sulfate, we are convinced that the acid there, it was sulfuric acid. Okay, so the solutions here, A1, we are saying A1, we are saying dilute acid A, which is the name and give the formula of dilute acid A, 2 marks. So the name is sulfuric acid. Then the formula, it is H2SO4. This is what I was saying. So SO4 alone is sulfate. So every acid contains hydrogen to make it sulfuric acid. Okay, so let's go to 2. So this is A1. So let's go to 2, A2. Okay, so A2. So also the same question, name and give the formula of substances B and C. Okay, so since we know now that the acid is it is dilute acid, dilute sulfuric acid, which is acid A. Since we know it is dilute sulfuric acid, so if this dilute sulfuric acid reacts with magnesium, it will give us magnesium sulfate plus hydrogen gas. So dilute acid A, which is sulfuric acid, when it reacts with magnesium metal, it will give us magnesium sulfate plus hydrogen gas. So that is C. Okay, B. So since they have said substance B and C, okay, so let's go to B. We write B first before we write C. Okay, B. So this sulfuric acid reacts with substance B in order to give us sodium sulfate plus water. Okay, so when an acid reacts with a base, that is when it gives a salt and water. But when the same acid reacts with a metal, it gives a salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, so here we know that this acid, which we know it is sulfuric acid, it reacted with a base, which is substance B, to produce sodium sulfate plus water. Okay, so now this base, it was a base of sodium, because we have sodium here. We all know the acid is sulfuric acid, no wonder we have sodium sulfate. So a base was a base of sodium. So this base now, it can be sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide is a base. Okay, so substance B, we are saying B, it is sodium hydroxide. Then they said we name and give the formula. So B is sodium hydroxide, the formula it is NaOH. Okay, then C we said when sulfuric acid reacts with magnesium metal, it will produce, we said it will produce magnesium sulfate plus hydrogen gas. So substance C is magnesium sulfate plus magnesium sulfate. The formula for magnesium sulfate there, it is MgSO4. Okay, so meaning we are done with A1 and 2. Okay, B we have been taught, say, construct a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between substance B and dilute acid A. So substance B, we said it is sodium hydroxide. So now they need a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between substance B, which is sodium hydroxide, and acid A, which is sulfuric acid. So we are saying it is the reaction between sodium hydroxide plus sulfuric acid, which will give us sodium sulfate plus H2O. So like those who have been following my videos, the way the ions interchange, we have sodium here and hydroxide, so we can name sodium as 1, hydroxide we can name it as 2, H2 we can name it as 1, SO4 we can name it as 2. So the 1 here goes with the 2 there, the 1 this side goes with the 2 this side. So when 1, which is sodium, goes with sulfate, no wonder we have sodium sulfate. Okay, then we also need to consider the valences. Since the valence of sulfate is 2, no wonder the valence of sodium is 1, no wonder sodium is carrying this 2. Okay, so this is the chemical formula, but now they have said we balance it. So how do we balance it? We know sodium, there is a 2 here, sodium 1, so we need a 2 this side, okay, to balance sodium. Then hydrogen, then let's count for hydrogen. We have these 2, plus this 2 to give us 4, but this side we have 2, so meaning we need a 2 here to make it 4. Okay, what about oxygen? Oxygen, we have this 2 plus this 4, 6, so the other side we have 4 plus this 2, 6. Okay, oxygen done. Hydrogen balance, sulfur 1, sulfur 1, so the equation is balanced. We can say 2 NaOH plus H2SO4 is equal to N2SO4 plus 2H2O. If they ask for state symbols, this is aqueous, aqueous, aqueous liquid. Okay, so I was a bit fast in terms of explaining as in how we balance the chemical equation. So if you are not really clear, there is still a video on balancing of chemical equation. You can search for the video on my YouTube channel, and you'll be happy to see that it is well explained there, and we are doing it in a quickest manner. Okay, so B2, we go to B2. So this was B1. We go to B2. B2 leads. We formulate an ionic equation for the reaction in B1. So an ionic equation from this reaction here. So an ionic equation is always formulated from a balanced chemical equation. So we have a balanced chemical equation here. So what are we required? We are required to come up with an ionic equation. So in coming up with an ionic equation, we split the ions that are in aqueous solution only. Liquid, solid, and gas, we write them the way they are. So we have these two, sodium positive, since the valence of sodium is 1, no wonder it forms 1 positive, aqueous, plus the same 2 for OH, hydroxide. So hydroxide, the valence is 1, so the charge is 1 negative, aqueous, plus, okay, this 2 now comes this side for hydrogen, so 2 hydrogen positive, aqueous, plus SO4. The valence of sulfate is 2, so the charge is 2 negative. So the pattern is this: positive, negative, positive, negative, and in line with the valence. So like for sulfate here, the valence is 2, no wonder the charge is 2 negative, which is equal to sodium. This 2 now comes this side for sodium, so 2 Na positive, then plus, so this is aqueous, then this SO4, it is a sulfate, the valence is 2, so 2 negative, also aqueous. Then we have then plus, then we have a liquid water. I said we only split the ions that are in aqueous solution. So this water we are writing the way it is. So 2H2O in liquid state. Then from here we cancel common ions, everything the same. So we can see 2 Na positive, even on the right side it is 2 Na positive. So this and this we cancel. What else is common? We have SO4 2 negative, SO4 2 negative. Then we write what remains. So we have 2 OH negative, which is aqueous, plus this 2 hydrogen ion, which is 2H positive, which is equal to 2H2O, which is liquid. This is aqueous. So that is our ionic equation. Next, now the next question. Okay, next question C. State the type of reaction that occurs in B1. So when a base reacts with an acid, the type of reaction is neutralization reaction. That is C. Okay, so neutralization reaction, meaning an acid and a base, they are neutralizing each other. So the type of reaction, it is neutralization reaction, and even this one ionic equation, we call it neutralization reaction. Okay, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel so that you may be getting notifications whenever I post a video on my YouTube channel. Subscribe and invite more of your friends, colleagues, family members to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.